Yes, and we are back. You are tuned in to the Last Mile Radio right here on Sirius XM. It's about to go down yet again, Chris.
Yes.
We got not one, but two guests in the house like teeth in your mouth. Is getting real.
Who do we have today on the Sirius XM?
So I'm extremely excited to announce our next guest. Again, not one, but two guests. We got one that I hold near and dear to my heart. One of my dogs, somebody I actually spent time with behind those walls, now doing his thing out here. We got my bro, Jessie Rose in the house, as well as somebody with where the money come from the Bank of America. In the house like teeth in your mouth, we got Stephanie Lomibao in the building as well. Welcome to the Last Mile Radio, guys. It's a pleasure to have y'all.
Hey, thank you, E. Thank you, Chris.
Oh, it's
Thanks
so
for
great
having
to
us.
have you. And Jessie, it's good to see you. We spent some time seeing each other in San Quentin, so it's great to have you here in the studio with us today. And Stephanie, you know, we have a partnership, The Last Mile, with Bank of America, and it's been so extraordinary that, you know, we'll talk a little bit about this, the importance of financial literacy.
Absolutely.
You know, it's importance in general, but certainly for those who are incarcerated and many having a first job for the first time, it's so critically important. So I want to give you, well, let's give flowers now.
Oh, we give flowers on the Last Mile Radio. That's what we do. And pretty much what that means, a lot of times, you know, people unfortunately get the credit and the acknowledgments and the good words and literally flowers after they pass away. They get them on the grave. So we want to give y'all flowers while y'all can still smell them. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And it's well deserved.
That's
really good.
awesome.
But we're going to talk about our relationship with B of A, what B of A is doing, certainly around criminal justice and financial literacy. We're going to roll into a conversation with the LA Rams
Oh, yeah.
and the relationship that B of A, LA Rams have in really doing something very extraordinary.
Yep.
But let's start with what you, Stephanie, are doing and what, you know, the importance of this, you know, area of financial literacy as it relates to underserved communities.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about the background of how this started and, you know, the focus that you have really expanding this program?
Sure. So let me start by giving flowers, too, because I'm really good at that. It is such an honor and a privilege to be sitting next to Jessie, who really had shown the proof that hope is possible and better financial lives is within reach of everyone. And that's really where it comes from. Our company, Bank of America, is focused on bettering the financial lives of people through the power of all of our connections. And while we live or work in an industry that is challenged and highly regulated, it doesn't stop us from doing what's right. And what's right is serving communities that are marginalized, that have lack of access, barriers to employment, and really need those opportunities for social equality and economic opportunities. And it is so obvious that individuals who are impacted by the system face extraordinary barriers to safe housing, education, employment, social services. They're released with the hope that the rehabilitation and the restitution that they paid is enough, but they're now sentenced to a life of poverty, and that impacts their families and it creates intergenerational poverty. And so for over 10 years, the Bank of America Charitable Foundation has invested over $70 million
Wow.
in supporting returning citizens through 3 key pillars. And the Last Mile really hits on all 3 of them. The first one is obviously direct philanthropic investment, that trust capital that keeps organizations on the front lines. And I think what's most important is the recognition that it's shared success. It's not about Bank of America doing what's right, but supporting organizations like The Last Mile, like Anti-Recidivism Coalition, like Homeboy Industries, that has the trust and the connection with the people we want to serve. The second way we support returning citizens is through our employee engagement and mobilization. I have to tell you that as a volunteer, as a Better Money Habits champion, we reflect the communities that we live in and we want to serve. And we have, in many respects, reflect the challenges that face those that have been incarcerated. And so whether it's supporting children whose parents are currently incarcerated, or supporting family reunification, or the Better Money Habits education not only while they're incarcerated, but also continued education through getting their degree once people are out. That is really important, and that's the philanthropic investments we make. And we also support entrepreneurship and
Right.
small business success.
Right.
So we've partnered with Unlock Futures and John Legend's Free America to also find other avenues where individuals who might have been impacted by the system can find success financially. And then last but not least, it's that thought leadership piece, which gets to the partnership with the Rams and the Rams Bank of America Fellowship, which Jessie so beautifully represents and embodies. And it's that opportunity to use our connections, our access, and really have that platform to talk about why this is important and why everyone should build that narrative around second chance opportunities and knowing that individuals are better than their worst mistake.
That's so important. And it's interesting you mentioned entrepreneurship, because E and I talk a lot about that, because E has this evolving career. And, that's important, right?
So
Absolutely.
important.
And, it was something that you've had to sort of really dig into, after you serve time and even before, right? So as you go on that entrepreneurial journey, this is really important.
Absolutely. I think, in my opinion, entrepreneurship is vital for myself, right? Like wanting to be independent, wanting to be able to manifest the things that's in my mind and heart and monetize it, right? In a legitimate way. For me, that was extremely vital for my growth. To be quite honest, one of the things that kind of like shattered, if we will, like that ceiling that I kind of placed on myself from like internalizing self-input mental limitations, right, was something as simple as reading an IRS pamphlet. I had an OG partner, and he used to get these IRS pamphlets and things, and all it did was just broke down the different business entities and what they're capable of, you know what I mean, and how to navigate with that. And it was like, wait a minute, I can do a corporation, I can do a subchapter S corporation, I can do a sole proprietorship, like I can do this. And I never seen myself in that light before. So after that light switch flicked on, it was like full-fledged, I'm finna be an entrepreneur. I can actually do this. And that quite literally altered the trajectory of my life. That moved me in a more progressive direction, a more disciplined direction, understanding what's needed in order to actually accomplish that goal. So I think that's vital for sure.
Yeah, and when we evolved our program, the Last Mile teaches technology inside, but we realized that it's great to have a skill, but you have to understand how to operate in the world and manage those things that, because some of these folks that are getting out are doing very well. It's more money than they've made before, and many the first time they've had a job. So it's so, so important. So a question for you also is, you have passion for this.
Absolutely.
You represent a company, represent the company that, it's hard to move these big corporations, right? Where did that sort of interest and passion for this come for you personally?
So many different influences in my life have really opened my eyes to the reality of what incarceration has done for the communities in the United States. From a personal motivational standpoint, I can see myself if I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, being like the sisters who are incarcerated.
Yeah.
I find motivation from the nonprofits that I've been able to work with, including the Last Mile, who we've been able to support for years now, and really seeing the impact we've made through our volunteerism and our philanthropic support to change people's lives. Not just give them the job that will hopefully keep them out of incarceration, but also the life skills, the money, better money habits to use the money. Like one participant, when I taught better money habits, said to me, what's important is I used to always think I had to work hard for the money. But now that I'm going through the trainings, it's about making sure the money works hard for me. And that's been eye-opening. And then last but not least, I will say that our youth have so much talent and potential. And I see them as untapped pools of talent where we have so much need, especially in corporate America, in business, in government. And so my hope is that these young adults really do see their potential and see what's possible and find that hope and that will and that trust to change their financial lives. And that's what motivates me.
That's deep. That's deep. I love that. We need more Stephanies in the world. I'm just saying. That is so beautiful. Moving forward, so we'll definitely get more deeper into this, right? Talking about the partnership that you've established with the LA Rams. But what exactly is the connection between BOA and TLM and ARC and the Rams, and how did that evolve, and what has the impact been so far?
Yeah, I love that. So the Rams Bank of America Fellowship is in its third year. This is a year we've increased it to 2 fellows, which is exciting.
Oh, yeah.
And it really gives us that opportunity to take a more holistic approach to our Rams partnership, which is exciting. But even more meaningful and impactful is the man that I'm sitting next to, Jessie, who is someone that we've invested in deeply. So through the fellowship, Bank of America provides subsidized transportation and housing, a mentor, the Better Money Habits education we spoke about, and we also help pay for the stipend. And the Rams, who you'll be hearing from, has an amazing program where they get on-the-job experience. They get to learn about the different parts of the career, and they get to really realize what they want to do in their lives. So I don't know, Jessie, if you could speak to the power of the fellowship you participated in, but really, rather than talking about it, why not hear from the man himself?
Absolutely.
Nice way to put me on the spot, Steph. I appreciate that. I definitely think it's powerful, given my background, to see someone like myself step into a professional setting where, like, this would normally not happen. I didn't go through any college or university to get to where I am. And so just to see me, like, sometimes I'm starstruck at times just being in the office, not like being around the celebrities or the players, but just like being around the office around a bunch of other cool and smart people actually working and participating in the corporation and the business is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It's interesting to say that because we have another TLM grad, Molly, or Billy Edison, who was hired by the Pacers. And I was fortunate to be in their office a couple weeks ago. And to see that genuine support is so amazing. And you're experiencing that too. Just the people around you that are really supportive. It's not just hiring and putting someone in a chair. It's actually having that type of support. We're going to dig deeper into your story.
Definitely.
But I wanted to ask you, Stephanie, you know, B of A is on the forefront of this. How do you see what you're doing to impact other Fortune 500 companies, either to provide services like you are or to become fair chance hirers? Because there's a lot of opportunity there.
There is. I've had the pleasure of working on this portfolio, our portfolio to overcome barriers to employment, for the 15 years I've been at Bank of America. And I will tell you there are 2 key components that can change the hearts and minds of employers and corporations. The first is systems change and doing things differently. The great Dr. Bob Ross would always say, if you want things to change, then doing the same thing may not get to that change. You have to do things differently. And so we are investing in those nonprofits that have best-in-class proof of concept. The last mile with your technology and innovations training that leads to employment upon release. Anti-Recidivism Coalition and what they do with Hope Inside. The second piece is narrative building and narrative change. And so using what we've done and the partners we have to talk about the issues in a very factual way. So partnering with policy think tanks like Vera Institute that show undeniably that there is an impact incarceration has had on Black and Latino men.
Yep.
And a huge growing rate for women of color in particular. We partner with documentaries and films like College Behind Bars, done by Lynn Novak and Ken Burns. And we not just partner with them on the film, but we show this film in communities across the U.S. We bring our clients and our customers and our employees to watch the film so they could see another story of how incarceration has impacted individuals negatively, but how nonprofits are showing ways to change how things happen. And then last but not least, we are a founding member of the Second Chance Business Coalition, which is hosted by the Business Roundtable, because this isn't just a Bank of America issue, and I know a number of banks and companies are a part of it. And it's about being present and being at the table and sharing our reality and our proximity, listening to others, and where there are opportunities to partner and collaborate, we do so. And most importantly, we give the microphone to people with proximate expertise and experience, like E, like Jessie, and have them tell their story to the people who can make a difference.
Yeah, storytelling is so critical.
Definitely. In my opinion, that is a very, very, very powerful tool, because it transcends beyond just the words and the logic of just what you're hearing, right? I think it becomes visceral to an extent. You know, you begin to feel what's being said. And when you move by those feelings, those are the type of things that I feel can move you to action. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's how you can make a difference and make that impact. So I think that's super important. That is vital. And thank you for sharing that too. Like that's power right there. Yeah. For real.
And that's why we really love the partnership with LA Rams. Like, people listen to the Rams. They love the Rams. They're a trusted brand. People are fans, like die-hard fans.
Chris is back as a Ram now.
I'm getting there.
Maybe one more Super Bowl ring.
I think y'all might get if y'all get that ring for sure, man. But with that is so incredible, and to see the impact of what's happening now, that I feel creates a very broad scope of what can be held in the future. So, what is the long-term vision? Like, what's the vision for the long term?
Definitely making sure that it's multi-pronged. Right. It's philanthropy plus our employee engagement and our employee representation of why this work matters. And then it's that thought leadership and collaboration. So continuing that forward, you know, ensuring that it's not a political issue, because it should not be a political issue. It's an issue that has facts behind it, and using those facts to guide what needs to happen in the community, and ensuring that employers and companies are judged not by what we say, but what we do and why we do it.
Oh my goodness, I love that
so
much.
I do too.
We need another soapbox, a megaphone, for real.
So we're gonna have a conversation with the Rams. We're gonna bring Molly in and have that conversation.
Awesome.
So appreciate it. But we want to ask you also, sort of sitting in the chair you are in today, and the experience you've had, you've seen a lot of things around criminal justice reform. Is there one thing that really sticks out to you? If you had one thing that would be something that you would like to change, what would that be?
It would be to really acknowledge and address the systemic inequalities that exist because of incarceration, whether it be because of race or what address we're born into or what mistake we made because we didn't know any better. I would love to see more rehabilitation, not just the rehabilitation that people throw around tied to incarceration, but true rehabilitation that builds people's confidence, hope, aspirations. And I pray and I hope that will happen, not because it's the right thing to do, but because it's a mandate in order to save the lives of people who matter.
Well, we're there with you as we go across the country and we impact more and more people in more and more incarcerated settings and more states.
Right.
We're going to continue to evolve this partnership. We so appreciate you being part of this. Love this relationship with the Rams. We're going to continue the conversation. Jessie, you're not going anywhere.
You're not allowed to
I'm
leave.
stuck.
But so appreciate it, Stephanie, and we're going to continue this conversation.
Thank
Absolutely.
you for the opportunity.
Definitely. Thank you so much for sharing your voice, sharing this journey. This has been so enlightening, so serious. This has been so enlightening. And for you tuning in, I hope you got your pen and your pad and been taking down these notes and you are moved to action, because this is power at its finest, y'all. This is power at its finest. So serious. So again, thank you so much, Stephanie. So serious. I say it all the time. Presence is priceless. So thank you so much for being present with us, because this was powerful.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And we will be back shortly. We finna head out for a little bit. So stay tuned right here on the Last Mile Radio on Sirius XM. You just heard a very powerful conversation with Stephanie Lomibao, my boy Jessie Rose in the building right here with me and Chris. It's been a big real. We finna be back soon. Yes, and we are back. You are tuned in to the Last Mile Radio right here on Sirius XM. It's going down. So, Chris,
Yes, sir.
you know we got Jessie in the house, but now we got somebody else in another seat sitting next to my man's right now. Who we got in the house right now?
We have Molly Higgins from the Rams.
The Rams is in the building, and this coming from a Raider fan, y'all. But I got a lot of love and respect for the Rams right now for what y'all got going on, man. I'm really excited to get into this.
We are. It's we talked to Stephanie earlier about what the Bank of America is doing for underserved communities, for the incarcerated communities, and then this partnership with the Rams, which is really unique. But really, we believe could be a model for many, many other teams and many, many other types of organizations like B of A. So, Molly, can you just tell us a little bit about what this program is and how it evolved?
Yeah, so we started this 3 years ago and wanted to be very intentional about focusing on 18 to 26-year-old youth, young people. Many times are transitioning out of foster care. They don't have the support system. And then you see the intersectionality with transitioning out of the foster care system, transitioning into incarceration and potentially homelessness. So we wanted to create this program being intentional about that to really attack 3 different social justice issues.
And the program is relatively new, as you said. And what are the jobs per se that you're offering, and how does that? What's the sort of longer term intention there of evolving more jobs, and then, we're going to hear from Jessie in a second, but things that he's doing today, how can that evolve within the organization?
Yeah, so we were intentional about this 6-month fellowship program, getting exposure to a variety of departments within the Rams. So everyone from football operations to community impact to sponsorship to Ram Studios that develops our content, which I know Jesse's a big fan of, but I think his heart's in community. But
True.
we really want to provide a lot of different exposures and opportunities, and then create pathways that maybe people didn't know existed. And then beyond that 6 months, use our network to reach out and try to help get them long-term employment. But very intentional about just providing that exposure, providing those opportunities, and providing that support system. We have an amazing 300-plus organization that now know someone who is formerly incarcerated. I think that's an ancillary benefit. Last year, getting to know Juan and Kenzo that came to us from Anti-Recidivism Coalition. Now getting to know Jessie. A lot of our staff didn't know someone who is incarcerated. Now they can put a face and name to it. And you can't care about a problem unless you have exposure to the problem, right? So I think now we have 300-plus people who want to work to address problems within the criminal justice system because they care about Jessie. They know him as a human being and not just a statistic.
Definitely. I could only imagine the impact that sense of proximity can create. Because like you said, I feel like a lot of times people can't combat what they don't know exists.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have a reason to care per se, then it's that much easier to remain oblivious. So that is incredible. That is so powerful. We talking about literally breaking walls. And I say all the time, we need to remove these lines in the sand and create circles. And I think that's an excellent example of doing that. So, as you know, we give flowers on the Last Mile Radio. So definitely got to give some flowers for that, for sure. Definitely got to give some flowers for that, definitely. But I want to ask you something, Jessie. I want to lean it over to you a little bit, real quick, right?
Let's hear it.
So, growing up in the hood, like myself, sports and music seem to be the only outlets to success. That's really, as we know, that's the usual ways out, if we will, right? But we're trying to provide more examples of alternative paths. What has the reaction been, and how do we involve more communities?
So I can say that you're absolutely right. Growing up in the neighborhoods where opportunities and resources are very scarce, the golden ticket out obviously is entertainment. So being a musician, being an actress or actor, or being an athlete, which is the most common one, that's how we make it out of poverty. And so now, as an adult working in the sports industry, I can just say, the people who come from where I come from and have witnessed my journey since I was a child to now, family, peers, friends, they're all starstruck. I mean, I constantly get messages from people just saying how proud they are of me, and like where I have come from. And like I don't think any of us could have predicted me working with a professional sports team, especially with the route that I had chose to take when I was a young kid. So yeah, definitely everyone is pouring out their praise right now.
Yeah, that's deep, man. And thank you for that real talk. And Molly, I want to hear from you as well. Like, how do you feel, communities, how do we involve more communities?
I think it is that exposure. I think not only, the program was designed to give people like Jessie exposure into our world, to create those career pathways and really kind of change trajectory for lives. But it's also, like I said previously, people getting to know the faces behind the statistics, the Jessie Roses, right? The Kenzos, the Wands, people that maybe, had a more challenging background and made a decision that they're not all that proud of. They've served their time. They've done all that. Now it's about us providing that second chance, because I can tell you those 300 people that know Jessie Rose back at our Rams office love this guy. Absolutely love this guy. I mean, the way he comes into the office, the way he operates with this attitude of gratitude, the way he wants to better his life at every turn. I mean, he organizes the team, the corporate softball team. He's always recruiting me. I haven't agreed yet, but he told me he made me a jersey. So
it's a jersey in her office waiting. She don't even know it.
But it's like that. When you get to know the faces behind the statistics, you want to change the system,
right?
Because he deserves it.
Yeah, it's so true. And when we first started Last Mile, and some of the first few folks got out from our program, and it almost was counterintuitive. And I went to some of the folks that were running companies and said, just give these guys a chance out of San Quentin. And there was a concern about, is this going to affect our culture negatively? What happened is just the opposite, right? The work ethic, the commitment, the determination, and the loyalty.
Yep.
And which is, I'm from Silicon Valley. Loyalty is not something company-wise. It's that pervasive. So I totally agree with that. And we've seen it over and over again now. Just the performance and the positive impact on the culture has been extraordinary. So, Jessie, I'm going to ask you, because we knew each other in San Quentin. You decided to be in the media center, which has kind of led to this, and you decided not to go on the Last Mile. I'm not holding that against you anymore.
I'm kind of guilty for that. I kind of play a role in that.
But I so appreciate what you've done and how you've evolved. Can you peel it back a little bit more? Because, as he said, and, he's chronicled his story well. But, there's a point where you enter prison, and then you have to make this choice, and decide that you're going to go through some transformation. Can you take us back a little bit, sort of pre-incarceration and through that journey, and when that aha moment came for you?
Sure. Yeah. So we can start from when I was born. I was born to a Mexican-American woman, an African-American man. I was one of 3 children. Grew up with my mom until my dad eventually took us over, the 2 brothers and myself. Started living with my dad, went about life. Life wasn't always stable. There wasn't always structure. But one place I always found escape was like in school and playing sports. I played baseball all my life. Started playing football when I got to high school. Basketball on and off all my life. But around the age of 15, I remember feeling like my life wasn't going as best as it could be, nor had it been the entire 15 years. So at 15, I had decided to live life on my own terms. I left the house, moved out on my own, started working at 15 and a half at a Del Taco, stayed with friends, and then eventually with my oldest brother, all the way up until 17. 17 comes, it's the summer of 2014. And I decided to go out and do something that was really scary to me at the time. But I did rob someone using my BB gun in the summer of 2014. And then that first robbery turned into another robbery. And then by the third robbery, I had got caught red-handed at 17. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, I'm a minor, I'll get a slap on the wrist. Maybe I'll do a little time, like a year or two, and then I'll be out. But while I was in juvenile hall, waiting on my court date, the public defender came in and she told me that I was facing life in prison at 17. And I think it shook me. Like, that was my aha moment, sitting in that brick room with a lady I never even saw before. To have her tell me, like, I was going to be facing, like, this for the rest of my life was really scary. It was very emotional for me, because that set me on a course where I just started reflecting on, like, all my life choices, stuff I had did to my brothers, my siblings, things I had did to my parents, things I had did to my substitute teachers. Lord knows I was an asshole to the subs. And then, of course, what I had done to the 3 men who didn't deserve anything like that to be done to them. And I just remember thinking, like, one, I'm going to be remembered as a really shitty person. And then 2, like, I didn't even live up to my life's truest potential. And so from that moment on, I had just dedicated my waking moments to bettering who I can be as a human being. And that started with, like, making amends with everyone that I could, reaching out to family, friends, just saying sorry. And then after that, obviously, it was like pouring into myself, investing into myself every opportunity I could with the resources or programs that were at my disposal. So education, I started picking up books in my spare time. I became like a big bookworm. I always thought books was for nerds, especially growing up as an athlete. And you'll never find me in a library. But I realized that's where you get smarter. I started increasing my vocabulary, stopped talking foolish. My thoughts began to, like, expand. I started having bigger thoughts, bigger dreams. And that just carried from me being a juvenile all the way up into prison. I ultimately received a 13-year, 8-month prison sentence for my actions.
Wow.
And I knew I wasn't going to get the time back, so I was like, let me just make the most of it while I can on the inside through doing everything that I could.
That's deep, man. That's a hell of a journey. That's a journey I can relate pretty well to, for sure. That's almost like looking in the mirror for myself outside of moving out there early and things like that. But definitely, you know, just that mentality of I'm finna take what I feel is mine, and then, you know, being sentenced at that early age of 17. Now, you know, I also went down at 17, man, and it's a trip. You know, where we are today, to be right here in the office in Sirius XM, knowing that me and you met in prison in San Quentin, out of all places, and now hearing that journey that led to San Quentin. It seemed like it was a lot of work put in to get there in the first place. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, unfortunately, you know, a lot of people don't reflect the way that we did and take those steps in order to grow in a progressive direction like that. So first and foremost, definitely got to give you your flowers for that, for catching on that quickly. You know what I mean? Because I know for myself, I guess that's the way that I don't necessarily relate. I didn't catch on as quickly as you did. And I was also facing life and ultimately got 2 strikes. And that kind of was the wake-up point. You know what I mean? Like, that's when I seen the severity of it and began to alter, but I still was kind of on the fence. And it wasn't until, like, later on, to actually already being in prison, going through juvenile hall, CYA, and actually entering prison, when it finally clicked. And it was like, okay, I'm going to really dedicate my life to this. So definitely got to give you your flowers on that to you know, make to grow that quickly and find that sense of maturity that quickly. Man, that's incredible. So serious. Hate that it had to happen this way, though, but glad that, you know, you was able to grow from it nonetheless. So one of the things that come to mind for me, just kind of want to go down memory lane a little bit, man. Like, so I'm hearing your journey. How long did it take you to get to San Quentin? Was that your first prison, your first mainline prison?
No, it wasn't. So I started in juvenile hall, spent a year there, transferred out to county, spent a couple weeks there, transferred to San Quentin State Prison, which is a reception center in Bakersfield. Spent 2 months there, went to Solano State Prison over in Vacaville, spent 3 years there. So in total, 4 years of my incarceration prior to San Quentin.
Oh, so they gave you that bus ride therapy.
Yep.
It was no joke. Yeah, I definitely am no stranger to that.
Long bus ride.
For real.
Long bus
so
ride.
when I met you in San Quentin, a lot of the qualities that you have today is what made me like get attracted to you in that sense. And what I'm talking about, I recruited you to First Watch. I was doing film at that time, and we first met through a Wild P program, which is a youth offender program.
So
and
you're the one who stole him from the last mile.
I am.
This is
so,
true. He's
so
the guy.
you know one thing about growth is accountability, right? I'm gonna be accountable. I gotta be accountable. I did play that role for sure. I did play that part.
It's okay now.
But look where we at today on the
Exactly,
Last Mile
exactly.
Radio.
There
Just
you go.
saying. But I noticed those qualities, and it really stood out to me, especially as a facilitator in that program, because it was a lot of knuckleheads. We're gonna be real, right? It was a lot of knuckleheads. There was a lot of people that needed more guidance, needed more mentorship in order to like keep them contained, if we will, keep them grounded. And Jesse didn't need. He could have been. But didn't you become a facilitator next after that? Now that I think about it.
So you have people like Maserati E in positions inside of prison that are in charge of like different programs. People who are old in those positions, and I'm pretty sure it's the same in corporate America, usually they tend to hoard the opportunities from younger people to have the opportunity to step into a leadership role. It was the opposite with Maserati, especially because he was a peer, like he was my age range.
Right.
So like Maserati E, along with a couple of others, really like encouraged me to step into leadership roles, not just in like therapy groups, but also in like film too.
More like serious persuading. It wasn't just encouragement. Like I had to really talk him into it.
Right.
So serious.
I had trust issues. I'm gonna be honest. We're in prison.
Right,
I'm
right.
young. I don't know this guy. I don't know anybody for that matter. So it's like, who should I take guidance from? Whose opinions should matter or should have an impact on my life? And so like I took that very serious.
Definitely.
And he definitely had to do some encouraging and persuading.
I'm still evolving my trust.
And just to show like how adamant it was, right? I know it got to the point where I kind of got to like bugging. And one day when I finally got him, I never forget it. I caught him working out, and he did not stop neither. He did not stop. I caught him working out, and I'm like, man, let me just holler at you real quick. And he know what I'm finna talk to him about. I'm trying to recruit again, like where his head was at, and his walk was just so different. And I knew he was the real deal. And I'm like, man, I gotta have him on my team. I'm finna go home soon. It's up to me to kind of fill these slots of this sacred position, being in the media center and things. So I gotta be extremely selective who I put in these positions. And he was at the top of that list. But I remember approaching him, and I could just kind of see it on his face, like, here we go. And he's like, bro, I'm finna keep working out. Like, I'm in this workout. And he just busted down doing this thing, and I'm running by him. And by the end of it, he was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to come pull up. And the rest was history.
True. So true.
That's so funny. We didn't talk for a while after you got but
Yeah, that kind of soured our relationship.
We made up, though. So I just want to highlight the fact that, we have the show on SiriusXM. It's on streaming services. But there's an audience inside. This plays in all of our classrooms across the country. And I'm saying that sort of to you, Molly, too, because there's this opportunity, real opportunity, and real incentive for people to put in the work. So what would you say to those folks that are inside, that are kind of grinding like Jesse and E did? Because there are these opportunities, not just with the Rams, but for people who have done the work, and those companies who are receptive to hiring. What would you say to some of those companies?
Don't let your past define you. I mean, just keep pushing forward, keep growing, keep bettering yourself. I think Jesse was very intentional about seeking out educational opportunities while he was inside to make him better prepared as a citizen coming out. And I mean, he's been such an incredible asset to our team, to our organization. I think we're going to continue to see that success. We're going to stack success upon a success. And we're in a very visible position as Los Angeles Rams. I think there are other corporations, teams that can look to us, and we have the blueprint now for that, what that successful program could look like. We pride ourselves on thinking differently, whether that's on the football side or the community side. How do we attack problems creatively and differently? And it's not just the Los Angeles Rams. There are a lot of companies that could be part of this change.
Jesse, anything
I
that
definitely got a message for all the young guys that are
definitely.
inside right now hearing this voice. I would just encourage you to really think about who you are as a person and who you want to be as a person, because there's a big difference. And the person you strive to be make sure that that person is somebody that other people will find pleasant to be around. And so, like, do everything that you can possibly do while you're on the inside to have the opportunity presented to you, to have people trust you, to have people take a risk on you. And you're not going to do it if you keep on doing the same things that you once did to get to where you are. So try to find some courage in your heart, change who you are, strive to be a better person. And when you get out, you come to LA, you between 18 to 26, talk to Molly Higgins about this internship, this fellowship, and do better than I did.
That's
Let's
awesome.
go.
I love that, man. So serious. Unfortunately, we at that time, y'all. We at that time. But we got one last question. So one question that we ask all of our guests that come on, and this is kind of difficult because I'm gonna ask for just one thing. If you could change one thing in our current system, what would that be and why? And I want to start off with Molly.
Gosh, one thing. I would say I spoke about the educational opportunities on the inside, but I think also that transitional support when people are getting out.
Yes.
Our friends at Anti-Recidivism Coalition, Second Call, they're doing great work in that area. And I wish there was more of that.
Love that answer, by the way.
Molly stole my answer. Yeah, no, that was a big message to all the corporations out there. I would encourage, or if I had to make a change to the system, it would be the judicial system, and I would encourage alternative to sentencing programs, and then of course like eliminating excessive sentences.
Love that as well. Both of those are definitely things that we need to rectify these areas for sure, especially with the disproportionate sentencing. As you know, we actually pushed for a bill from prison.
That's right.
From prison and almost got it passed. Senate Bill
We were
678.
in prison doing policy work
Yes.
to change laws and to create laws. It was amazing.
And got it off the ground. We got shot down in the second stage, but we got it off the ground nonetheless. So I agree. That's something that definitely needs to be rectified. But thank y'all so much for being here, man. So serious. I say it all the time. Presence is priceless. So thank y'all so much for being present with us and rocking with us.
And I'm going to say, though, that I'm really, really there on the Rams fan, right?
He's
I'm
on the
really there.
cusp.
Jesse's going to pull you over.
I'm there,
Hey,
Jesse.
Get it, Jess.
I think that's what's gonna happen. I gotta say too, while we on the air too, my son by marriage, Donovan, is a diehard Rams fan.
That's right.
And I took him to his first Rams game.
That's
we
right.
got to hang out with Jesse and everything.
Amazing.
And
He had an amazing time.
I think he helped y'all out because y'all went on a super win streak after that. After that moment, y'all went 7 out of 8. For
I
real.
mean, this guy can possibly take JB's long spot. He
What?
knows all the stats
Yes.
about everything. He could be our next commentator for
I
sure.
think you need to
Only
bring him
amazing.
back.
And then Chris Relich is going to be our next season ticket member. He's going to be our 2024
All right,
season
I'm
ticket
there.
member.
I'm there. You got me.
Absolutely.
So much appreciated. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to extending this relationship and helping support the Rams, B of A. Love it. Let's keep it going.
Absolutely, absolutely. And stay tuned. We're going to be back shortly. You just heard this powerful conversation with my dog, Jessie Rose, and Molly Higgins in the house like TP your mouth. With me and Chris, it just got real. But stay tuned right here on the Last Mile Radio on Sirius XM.